This week on Married to Medicine.
I'm ready to go. Okay.
Where we going, babe?
Let's go over here.
Love y'all. See you later.
Bye, guys.
No, bye-bye.
Contessa, get some help, baby.
I wasn't going to stay with Quad and Greg and Sweet Tea being in the same school.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of Married to Medicine, Season 11, Episode 14. Let's get right into this. Alright, so they began with little clips of the women doing their thing, but then Simone goes over to Jackie's office to have lunch. I like that they do that every once in a while. Simone brought some salads, and Jackie says she's writing congratulation cards for women that just had babies. Simone says, "Oh, that's nice. I do it in person." So Jackie lets Simone know that Phaedra Parks, has officially paid up all the money to complete those $100,000, that amount that they had to have raised for the Met Gala. Phaedra said she don't write checks that she can't cash. Okay, so all of that has been completed. Chapter close on that. Jackie then tells Simone that Phaedra also let her know that she will no longer be hanging out with the group anymore. And Simone asks why. And Jackie says, well, she felt that the Apollo situation was a bit much. Simone says, well, did she think it was a bit much to bring him to the reunion last year? And Jackie says, well, she told me that was because that was a controlled environment and that he gets jealous when other men are with her. So now they've completely flipped this whole thing on Phaedra because they're saying Phaedra knew Apollo was going and she still brought check. Now that's a fair point, don't get me wrong, but they seem to forget that Shireen showed up. That's a huge part of it. And let's keep it real for a second. Whether Phaedra knew or not, Heavenly had no business inviting him in the first place. Okay, because let's be clear. Heavenly told Phaedra after she had already invited him. But anyway, Phaedra's gone. They talk about how they're going to move on with the other problem, which is the King and Greg of it all. And Simone got a hold of that song that Greg wrote and performed. I got a brand new wife now. So they took a look at that. Alright, so then we see Contessa and Heavenly meet up. I was so confused. I was like, how y'all go from wanting to jump each other to now having a lunch and hugging? But at least you're trying to move on. And that's the purpose of this lunch, to try and move forward. So they're being very friendly, and Contessa says that, it's just going to take some time. And Heavenly says, yeah, we both need to admit that there was wrong on both sides. And Contessa says, well, what did you feel that I did? And Heavenly says, all I said to you was that if you were going to stay with your husband, just don't talk about your problems in public. And Contessa says, but for me, talking about it, it's like therapeutic in a way. That's how I get through it. Our issue is that you called my husband abusive. And she did. Heavenly did. Heavenly says, well, you used the word volatile when you were talking about him. What they both agree on, though, because they were about to get into it again, but they kind of shut it down, they agreed that they wish none of this would have ever happened, and they agreed to disagree, and that they will try to improve, try to move forward, and try to get to know each other in another way. Now, when it comes to that whole Contessa Heavenly situation, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I actually understand Heavenly's initial point, because she is right. If you are going to stay with your husband, don't trash him publicly. But I also get Contessa's point. It's just because she can trash her husband publicly doesn't mean that gives you the authority to go on YouTube and all these other platforms and call him abusive on her behalf. That's the disconnect that she's having. But they hug it out. They give each other a hug. And then Contessa talks about her event on Saturday. So she is the chair of Georgia's American Diabetes Association, and they're going to have a local health fair. So she wants to get all the doctors to be there, and because there's going to be a lot of people and they can share their services to the community and all of this. She says that she is going to invite everyone, but Heavenly doesn't think that's a good idea, giving King and Quad and everything. But Contessa thinks that this event, the purpose of it is greater than all that drama, so she hopes everyone will be able to go. Then we see Toya. Poor Eugene, his toe was smashed by a tow truck's flatbed. Ouch. And I don't know why Toya always got to talk about some penis and sex. Like, damn, a joke or two is fine, but every time. But anyway, Toya is getting ready for this party that she's having for their anniversary, and then she talks about the conversation she had with Sweetie. Now, Toya is still hell-bent that Lateasha needs to acknowledge her mistakes. She can't keep defending herself. She and her husband need to do better. And Eugene says, well, when I met with Greg, when I was with Scott, we brought up King. And Greg said to us, like, is he your friend? Then finally, Eugene made some sense in this whole situation. He said that Greg and T probably feel like everyone's choosing Quad and King and that they're abandoning them. But you guys, what just keeps getting on my nerves to the max is Toya trying to paint a narrative, now for the second episode in a row, that Sweet Tea can't control herself. Like, what? Like, that is where she's wrong. Every situation where Sweet Tea has popped off, it's because she's been reactionary. I don't know, Toya tripping. I thought she had some clarity at the trip when she said, we are mean girls. But clearly, you ain't that self-aware, because what's going on? Okay, moving on. It's a scene with Miss Quad. Now, Quad knows how to do TV. She had this whole date night with King. She was acting like they're in a movie. She got the food, the champagne. They're on the jacuzzi. Just a great scene. But then they have a real conversation. So they've gotten very close. But Quad wants to now go to the next step. And to her, that's moving in together. But King is adamant that if they are going to move together, they should get another place. But she wants to stay in the house. He says, well, you can rent it out. And Quad says, this is not about your ego. Like, let your ego to the side. And King says, it's not about my ego. It's the natural order of things. He says, we got gender roles. You make me take out the trash. And then Quad says, well, yeah, because in my past marriage, I didn't have that. And I was like, dang, Quad, you can't have one nice scene with your boyfriend without having to somehow reference your ex. Come on. Anyway, bottom line, King doesn't want to move in. Now, here's the thing. Looking at it from Quad's side, I totally get it. Because I know that this house, for her, really symbolizes so much. Not just wealth, but growth. And it's a beautiful home. Now, granted, yes, I could see King's point. Because maybe if he ends up moving with her, it'll always feel like he's in her house. So I get that, but then again, I don't think it's that serious. Like, if you love each other, I don't know, I see both sides, so y'all let me know what you think about that. Okay, moving on to the next scene. Simone and Cecile go to the condo that they bought where Miles and Michael are living at. And the place is still a mess. There's trash on the floor, the kitchen's a mess, there's clothes everywhere, and Simone says this is a violation of the contract that they made. She says, if y'all don't stop, we will move y'all back home. Cecile says, let's create a new contract, and Simone runs down what they need to pay. Mortgage, electric bill, water bill, and that would be about $1,194 each a month. Cecile says, well, maybe 5% of that would be fair. Listen, they have this conversation with these boys every season, and I get the whole thing. Guys, when we're young, it's known that we can be messy, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm 21, and every once in a while, I could have a little mess in my room. The pile starts piling. But I also know that it can't stay like that for a long period of time. Like, I know that at a certain point, I'm like, okay, it's time to clean my room. And so the fact that they're super grown and they're still acting like this, listen, I feel bad for the wives that they're going to have. Because it's not that hard. Like, grow up. Okay, so then it is the day for Contessa's event. I'm really happy that in the midst of all this toxicity this season, we were able to have at least one positive event. So like I said, it's a health fair. So all the doctors of the group come in their scrubs, in their professional mode. Contessa opens up the event by talking about diabetes and how it disproportionately affects Black Americans. I really liked how each of the doctors also, even though they practice their different things, they share how diabetes can affect their given area of profession, like how diabetes can affect teeth, for example, or how it can affect pregnancy. That was super informative and really interesting. So a lot of good information, great information. Then Quad, she tells the group that she will no longer be present when the Luncefors are present. Contessa then says, I've talked to T, and it's a challenge to start a marriage in an environment like this, and I think there's got to be some empathy because you were in that very same situation last year. She says this to Quad. Contessa says that there is a way in which they can choose Quad, and they can also choose Sweet Tea. Now, Quad wasn't really feeling it. She says, my safety net has been removed from the group because my man can no longer be here. Contessa says, yes, I agree. We don't agree with the police and all of that. But she's still a part of this group. Toya really wants everyone to be together for her party. So she says to God, just like you can come with a +1, Lateasha can come with her +1. And then here's Go Heavenly. Now when there's a charge in place, and Contessa says, you're so negative. Stop being negative. And Heavenly says, no, I'm trying to hear Quad. You're a problem. Let someone else talk. Heavenly just can't help herself. Keep in mind, this is in the middle of a professional event when they're supposed to be educating the people. So much for that little lunch they had. The men are talking outside about Greg, Damon, Scott, Curtis, and Steven, and they all agree that Greg is wrong. Damon says that King was just defending the honor of who he cares about, and Steven says, yeah, I talked to King, he really wants to move on. They say that Greg's ego is hurt. Now, there is some weird that Greg told Scott. He said that the only person that could fix this would be Quad. And to me, that was that's a no. Why, Dr. G, would you want Quad to fix this? You shouldn't want to talk to her. Anyway, long story short, everybody there is Team King. They don't see a single thing that King did to be wrong. Just like the ladies over there don't see anything that Quad did as being wrong. Because to this day, ain't nobody has told her that. She probably shouldn't have said what she said at the pool. But anyway. Now, last episode, I told y'all that I personally wouldn't call the police. But, I was thinking about it. And if I had someone run up on me and was about to beat me up, I don't know how I would react. Just like these people don't know how they would react. Greg and Sweet Tea then get to the event. Now, because Quad has already decided that she will not be present if they're present, when Greg and Sweet Tea start to arrive, Quad and Heavenly, they get out of that building. It looked like they were evacuating a burning building. They were gone. As they were leaving, though, Heavenly did yell to Contessa. She says, Contessa, get some help. So, Sweet Tea got there, and Contessa, Mimi, and Jackie talked to her. Contessa says to her, I want to make sure that you still feel safe in this group. Sweet Tea says, sometimes I don't always feel mentally safe. And Mimi, she seems to be doing a lot of talking for somebody that just joined the show. But she's saying, when I met you, I didn't know. When I met up with you last week, I didn't know what you wanted. Can you navigate through this group and control your emotions? I was like, are you kidding me? Oh my God, we're still with the gaslighting. I can't. So then we got the men outside with Greg, and Steven asks Greg, do you think that your little disagreement is enough for you to file charges? Would you drop them? The fact that Steven called it a little disagreement is crazy to me. But Greg says, I'm not going to be disrespected and not do anything about it. I don't see any respect for me. His behavior was very disrespectful. And Steven says, well, do you think you were disrespectful? I mean, there's other relationships that are being affected, and we are being put in a position where we have to choose sides. And Curtis says, I don't want you to not be in the group. And Greg, he feels like they don't have his back. And it's not that he feels that they don't have his back. They don't have his back. So that was it. Next week is going to be the finale. And I'm glad it's the finale because I'm over the gaslighting. I really am. And if I were Greg and Lateasha, I'm going to be honest, I would just say, I will make it easy for y'all. Y'all don't have to choose. I'm out. Peace. It's really not worth it. It really isn't. They've showed their true colors. What really upsets me is the way these women just play in our faces. They were all for Sweet Tea coming in last year. recruiting her, taking pictures with her before the season even started, just really wanting to get her here to play in Quad's face. Now, this year, they're doing a complete 180 and it's like, okay, well, now we're going to choose Quad. We got to get rid of her. So, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But like I said, next week is the finale. Y'all let me know what y'all thought, though. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.